gonna do? I can't tell. But I shock it too. Say it's your game. Do what you wanna do now. Say, I can't. The fuck? They're multiplying.
Look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rockstar Roadie podcast. My name is Dan ONeil, your host. Everybody knows me as Borga. I might as well just embrace that shit after all these episodes now. Hi. It is a Wednesday release day, so you know what that means. I got to read the friggin' legal spiel so I don't get in trouble legally. But so, per my lawyers, the Rockstar Roadie podcast. No, never mind. My thoughts and mine and my guest thoughts are our own. What we've been through and experienced is our own. We're not licensed medical therapists, although most of us see one, as well as we should. But what we tell you is stories. We tell you stories of how or what we went through and how we've overcome. We tell you stories of what some of our friends have gone through and how they've overcome. Take away what you want from those. If one part of that story or solution helps you, my job is complete. I will feel that I have done what I set out to do here, and that's not make money. That is to help people. Because I have a lot of red in my ledger, to quote a Marvel movie, and I need to wipe it clean. So with that said, now we talk about the rules of the podcast. There are two of them. This is fun. 1, we don't talk religion. Shit, I got that backwards again. I always get it backwards. All right, well, we'll stick with it. 1, we don't talk religion. And 2, we don't talk politics. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce you to my guest this week. He is a dear friend. We did a tour a couple of years ago together, and I got to know him even better. And he is one of the salt of the earth human beings that I know, and a very sweet man. He was touring with this band, Blue October. And I didn't know who the hell they were. And then I saw them, and they were opening up for us on the Goo Goo Dolls. And well, besides giving them shit every day, I really enjoyed their music, and the people in the band were absolutely amazing people. So they gained a fan out of me. So with that being said, part of that reason I'm a fan is because of this man. Please welcome Mr. Patrick Ryan.
Dan. Dan, how's it going?
Good, brother. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
You're really far away.
Should I move closer? Is it better if I do?
Yeah, because I can't see that cute mug of yours.
Is that better?
That's better. Much better.
Okay.
I don't know why, but what's funny is I think I have to do something here. Hang on. Let me see what this does. I don't know why. Like, that's my right arm.
Am I like flipped? Is it?
No, not you, me. And it's confusing because I'm right-handed and it's wrong. No, is it wrong? I don't know.
This is.
Wow. Is that right side?
This is my right hand.
Okay, you're right. Is this my right hand to you?
Yeah.
Man, I did not take my Ritalin today. Oh my God.
Anyway,
so
yeah.
How are you, brother?
Doing good. I just got back from a Asia tour with Smashing Pumpkins.
I know. I was following your journeys, extremely jealous, wanting some food while you were there.
Yeah, Bangkok was crazy, seeing the stuff out on the streets there, the kind of stuff they ate. But like Singapore was amazing, and Jakarta was really cool. I mean, I love that part of the world, so it was a real treat. You know?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back later this year. It's going to be fun. Always that Australian, Japan, Asian run is they're always fun. Bangkok's one of my favorite cities. I mean, just because A, it's cheap, and B, people are so damn nice.
Yeah, I didn't feel creeped out at all the whole time I was there. You know,
as long as you stay out of Puck Pong. I was taken down there one time. I'm like, no, I got to go.
Yeah.
But so Smashing Pumpkins. Let's talk about that real quick before we dive into some history. So you take care of the young lady you were showing me.
Yeah, Kiki Wong.
Player.
Yeah, great player and even better human being. Like, it's an absolute joy working with her every day. It's, you talk about finding normalcy and mental health and stuff. Every day I see her, it's always either a hug or a way to go or how's the family, and we just talk about normal stuff, and
people
real
see
treat.
a lot of people don't get that means a lot coming from a band member.
Yeah.
Because they don't listen. I've worked for bands, but they don't even freaking talk to you.
Well, the bottom line is we're paid to provide a service, you know, and I get that, but there's a real added treat when you can find somebody that's just
human.
Normal. Yeah.
Human.
You know.
Just be human.
Yeah.
You know, it's like younger generation road crew coming up thinking they're the shit, and then once I pop them in the wiener, they stop and they go, "Okay, well, I'm not that good."
Right. Everybody.
I told you this is unfiltered. Be real clear. You can go. I'm very unfiltered because I don't think that, you know, putting people in timeout or go sit on the first stair of the stoop is going to work anymore. I think you need to go back to the way when we were raised with the garden hose.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Some people do such stupid things. I want to look at them and I want to smack myself because I feel like I'll break them.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh God. So how long you been with Smashing Pumpkins? A while now, right?
I went out in 2022. I worked for Billy Corgan, but I was just on loan for a couple months. So I did that and then went back to Blue October. They're my brothers, and I've always loved working with them.
I am a new fan.
Yeah, went back, got that done, and then around the time I got a knee replacement surgery right at the end of 2023, the opportunity came up to work with Pumpkins again, and it was for Kiki. So that's kind of where it started. But yeah, so we did a stadium tour last summer with Green Day and did a European run, and then we did another European run this year, as well as Asia. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really rewarding. It's been great, and the rest of the crew that's out there, it's fantastic. Yeah, as you know, it's awesome being out in an environment where there's two other guitar techs as well as myself, where we help each other out, and it's great just to have somebody to talk shop with out there. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm learning as I've gotten older, and you know, I do tours. You know, I'm heading out tomorrow. You know, I know this podcast is going to be released later, but you know, I'm heading out tomorrow with TSO, and I look forward to it because it's just a bunch of old roadies. And we sit, we talk shop, we talk life, we talk family, we talk, you know, problems, we talk everything. And believe it or not, I know the rule of the podcast is no politics, no religion, but we could talk about those things and not hate each other.
And everybody gets along. Yeah.
100%. And I know if I got hurt, any one of those guys would step over and help me out.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. Same thing with Bon Jovi. Same vibe. Both camps, TSO, Jovi, treat their crew with respect, treat their crew great, pay us great, are very respectful. And I know on either one of those camps, if something were to happen to me or if something were to happen to one of the other guys, we'd all step up.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately not commonplace on a lot of tours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a little bit sad because that's an old school OG mentality, which you're one of. So we have to, you know, we always grew up in this industry. Hell, I was talking to Glenn Kaufman. I did an interview with him the other day, and basically, you know, him and I were the only two roadies, and I'll say roadies because I am one, for Night Ranger for 5 guys. And Glenn and I had no problem doing towels, water, you know, set list, paging cable, you know, if the guys had to be on. There was no, that's not my job or that's above my pay grade type bullshit.
Yep.
You know, and that seems to be the new commonplace with a lot of these youngsters coming up. First off, undercutting us and trying to take our jobs, or waiting for us to do something to where they could stab us in the back and then take our jobs. And I'm like, listen, you want it that bad, take it. Right. I'm not corrupting my morals for your stupidity.
Yeah.
So anyway, so let's talk about, you worked for one of my favorite actors.
Okay.
Which, you know, when you talk to me about that, I'm still waiting for that call because that'd be a blast, you and me. But you work for Hugh Jackman also.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and he's awesome.
Yeah. In 2018, I went out and I worked for Tim Mitchell and Shakira. I went out and did the Shakira tour, and the same production manager I had from that tour called me the following year to be backline crew chief and guitar technician for Hugh Jackman. And at first I was like, Hugh Jackman. You mean like Wolf? Like, you know, I have three boys, and at the time they were really little, but they were in their Wolverine phase. So I'm like, you're talking about Wolverine, you know? And sure as shit, it was Wolverine, and it was probably one of the best tours I've ever done. It was amazing. We did, I want to say it was 10 or 12 countries, but we went all over Europe, North America. We did Australia, and it was great. It was a big production. I think there were 125 of us that traveled.
Wow. You would never think that about Hugh Jackman, but I think that's awesome.
You wouldn't think it. And it was great because I stepped out of my comfort zone as a tech, just doing rock or country or pop or whatever. I was dealing with nylon strings. I was dealing with ukuleles. I was doing upright basses. And
wow.
And it was just fun to step out and get a little bit something different, you know. And that whole world.
Was it like a Broadway show?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like your typical show where you do handoffs in between songs. He would, there was literally an orchestra. He was running through a Kemper, and it made the most sense because there were string players and horn players and all kinds of things around us. We couldn't have a Fender Twin back there, so we had a Kemper, and on one side of him, he would have like a 335, a Collins 335. We had a Tyler electric. We had some Tom Anderson guitars.
So wait, Hugh played?
No, this wasn't Hugh. This is the guy I looked after.
Okay, gotcha.
Was like, yeah. So he had acoustics and he had electrics, but he just sat there with a music stand in front of him. So because of them having dancers and actors and set pieces and all this stuff going on, he pretty much handled everything himself from his sitting position, and I just was there in between the intermission to check tuning on some things. But it was very, very controlled, you know. But it was great.
I will take that gig, please. I will take that gig, please. Thank you.
You know,
I miss the days.
They called us the country club. They hated us, you know.
Oh, they have to be.
You know, we were the last ones in and the first ones out every night. So,
well, I mean, isn't that always the case though on any tour backline?
You pick your own gig, you know.
That's what I tell people. People go, man, you know, oh, you're last one in for, you know, first one out. Dude, pick your gig, cut your deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I was telling someone yesterday on a podcast. Listen, I've said this a few times. I go between production manager, stage manager, or backline, depending on what amount of shit my brain wants to deal with. So, like when I was with Janet Jackson, I was the production manager for the tour. When I was with the Marley Brothers, I was the production manager for the tour. Then I go, okay, let me go do guitars so no one's yelling at me or no one's asking me for budgets, because then the guitars they're very nice to me. They're sweet. They don't say much, you know. Yeah. And it's like, that's why I tell people, man, just pick your job.
Yeah.
You know, pick it, stick it, and just go with it. Wow, that's new. Pick it, stick it, go with it. I'm going to keep that.
Sounds like a slogan.
I just came up with that.
No, so, I mean, you know, the funny thing is I never set out to do this job. I was always a guitar player, and I toured with my own band, and out of necessity, in case I was in South Korea somewhere and my amp quit working or my guitar quit working or whatever, I needed to have some basic knowledge. So I started jumping into it there just from a practical,
a learning experience.
And then it went from practicality to, wow, I can do this and I can change this value and it'll make the guitar sound like this and I can rewire it to do this.
Right.
And I guess what I'm getting at is, as time went on, I always loved playing guitar. That's my first love, but I think being good at one helps you at the other. Like I think it allows you to get inside the player's head, whoever you're working with, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. You know, and basically backline for me is like basically a playground to fix or build or modify things for fun and get paid to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
the weirdest shit. I'll come off a 3-month tour and we're always saying at the very end, I don't even want to look at a guitar, you know, but within days I'm tearing something apart and tinkering with something or wanting to do something, you know.
Mine normally lasts until my work box makes it back home, and then I'm in the garage set up just like I am on the road.
Yeah.
And I'm always doing something. First things first is clean out the work box after the tour's over, and then after that, build something just to keep my head busy.
Yeah.
You know, especially me now. I'm in a different situation than you. I'm kind of semi-retired, and I'm kind of loving it. I'm not gonna lie. We'll see how long it lasts when the bills pile up. But
You're
now
down on the Gulf Coast, right?
Yeah, we moved down to the Gulf of Mexico.
Nice.
Right here at we're in Long Beach, Mississippi, which is like one town over 3 minutes from Gulfport, Mississippi.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it goes Long Beach, it goes long. So it's like past Christian, and then after that is Louisiana. So you got past Christian, Long Beach, Gulfport, Biloxi, Ocean Springs, where my 2 daughters and my 2 son-in-laws live, and my stepson. So we moved down here to be closer to them because my 2 are grown and have fled the nest. So it was just me and the wife in Columbia, Tennessee, not far from Nashville, in this big, stupidly oversized 5-bedroom house with the big ass humongous yard fenced in. And it's like, it's just me, her, and the dogs. And it's like, we barely ever went upstairs. So it's like, what are we doing? What are we paying for this for?
Yeah.
You know, let's just sell it and move. And sure enough, that's what we did.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it. That's my home away from home. Orange Beach, Gulf Shores. Like,
oh no, we didn't actually.
I've been going down there since '73.
Well, next time you're down here, let me know.
Yeah, we have a timeshare down there, but I've been going down there several times a year since I was a kid. Last 50 years.
Oh, nice. Well, let me know if you ever need me to check on the timeshare for you. It's only a friggin' 5-minute car ride.
Absolutely. No, that's great. That's great.
Let me know. Maybe I'll rent the timeshare and the wife and I can skip town for a day.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love it down here. I mean, we're 2 blocks from the beach. I'm looking out my office window right now, the studio window, and I can see no trees and I can see the ocean. Yeah. And I never thought, being a city boy who loves the country, like I'm a Gatlinburg, you know, Black Hills Mountain kind of guy. I like lakes. I like to go fishing. So this, you know, this is a big departure from what I'm used to, but I'm starting to really get used to it and like it and just enjoy the scenery. And it's just peaceful and quiet. And you can go, I can literally walk down. I can get on my scooter. I got my little electric scooter and go to the beach, you know, and just sit there for an hour and just be like, okay, I can go back home now. I feel much better. You know, I think that on my mental health journey is being beneficial as well. You know, so, but, and then my one son-in-law, Tyler, him and I go fishing once. We try to do it once a week, but I'm still getting used to this whole saltwater fishing thing.
It's a whole new thing.
It really is a whole new thing. I mean, I'm all set up for freshwater and I love my trout and my bass, but you know, and not to mention, let's just put it over the top. The food down here is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
We went to this. So our anniversary's next week. So we went for an early anniversary dinner since I'm home to this place in Biloxi called Mary Mahoney's, which is a haunted restaurant. Right. My wife and I are big time into the paranormal. So we went there and it was probably not expensive, by the way. Some of the best food I've ever had in my life. I was just like, I was floored by how good this food was. I was like, God damn.
Yeah, it's amazing down there.
It really is.
Tons of options.
Seafood. You know? So let me ask you this. In your journey, how long have you been touring now?
I started touring with my own band as a guitar player in '94.
Okay.
And so I did that up to '98. And then my first touring gig was with Little River Band in '99.
Wow. Okay. That's not a bad start. I like that band.
Yeah. Great guys. I always tell people it was like being out with your uncles all summer.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like they've been there, they've done it. They'd been through all the bullshit and they were just happy to do it. And it was just, it always felt like music for all the right reasons. And just great guys. You know, there was never a problem with pay. They were always about family. And some of my fondest memories are with those guys are, you know, they all came to my wedding.
No shit.
Unannounced. Like I didn't know they were going to be there.
That's
and then
awesome.
right before I was getting ready to walk down the aisle, there they were.
That is awesome.
Because I was kind of pissed. I was like, none of them offered to show up or anything. And then little did I know they all showed up, you know.
That's great. That's true people right there, man.
And it was another, the first year I was out with them, I was one of those deals where, you know how it is, you just bond with them or you don't. And we quickly became friends. And during that first year, one of the guitar players quit. And with, that 70s classic rock, a lot of their stuff had 3-part guitar harmonies, just like vocal harmonies,
Right.
And so they asked me to play guitar for them.
No shit.
And so I ended up doing that. I teched the first half of the show. Then they'd be like, "We're going to bring our guy out," and they made it part of the show.
That's awesome.
Every night. So I got to do that. And then there were also times where one of them couldn't make the show, or something popped up with a family, somebody's getting married, whatever, and I would just play their part and play the whole show.
That's awesome.
So I got to do that, and then it was just a great place to start.
Good,
a great bunch of guys.
But in your travels and between musician, it could be either musician or road crew. In your travels, what's been your experience with mental health issues? Now, I know you and I talked on tour when we did the tour, but I don't want to speak for you because my memory's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's one of those things that it's changed recently. I think people are more willing to talk about it. As I think especially in our field, we're about this mentality of you won't allow yourself to get sick even with a cold, much less admit you're dealing with something at home or personally,
Yeah, 100%. I've been there.
There's no sick days out there, and so you just shut the fuck up and do your job and
I haven't taken a sick day in 40 years.
Yeah. But seriously, there isn't, and you're kind of you're subject to that whole thing of not to talk about it. But I wouldn't say it's like really encouraged, is it? I think now it's gotten better, but not back in the day it wasn't, for sure.
No, 100%. But what have you seen as far as mental, I mean, there's got to be a better word that I could find, but like mentality issues on the road.
Yeah.
Like I know I see a lot of depression.
Yeah.
And anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. And there again, depression and anxiety, that's something that I think all of us have to a degree. I know I definitely had it, but it just wasn't talked about, much less diagnosed. Right. And I didn't really recognize it until I was an adult, but looking back on it, I can see it now. But I think depression's a big thing, especially in our industry. That should be talked about, and it's not. And I've lost so many friends to suicide just in the last 10 years.
Same here, man.
I
think we've lost mutuals. I'm pretty sure if we mention names, we could probably go, "Yep, I knew him."
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's one of those things where I wish they would. And I said this the other day, and I'll say this to anyone watching the podcast: if you need to talk, text me. I'll pick up the phone. Yeah. I will let you vent all fucking day long without opening my mouth, because I've been there and I needed to do it. And there was 1 or 2 people there for me when I needed to do it. But also at the same time, those 1 or 2 people want to interject. And it's like, that's not why I need to do this.
Yeah.
That's why I like my therapist. She doesn't interject. She literally lets me get mad and ramble.
Yeah.
Because I know on tour, it's not necessarily become acceptable. What it's become is okay now to speak. Like when I do tours and one of the guys are going through something and we're setting up and the conversation just happens. It's organic. You know, if you're having a bad day, that's one thing. But if you're having to deal with a fuck ton of shit at home and you got stuff going on, like last year on TSO, prime example, we're in rehearsals in Omaha and my dog's dying. That to me, like everyone knew about it because I posted about it and we all follow each other. So they knew I was in my little corner with my work box and I just wanted to be alone. And everyone was fucking super respectful. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they come up, Al, my guitar player, come up and check on me. Janie, my keyboard player, Jimmy Pentinato, came out and checked on me. You need anything? No, I'm all right. I'm cool. I have to deal with it in here because I can't get home to put my best friend to sleep.
Yeah.
And where people think Oh, it's just a dog. It's
Nah,
not.
they're family. They're family.
They're
For
my
sure.
children. I got 2-legged
Yeah.
children and 4-legged children.
Yeah.
And they're all treated the same. Hell, I talk to my dogs like we're having a conversation right now, you and me.
Yeah.
All right. But that's part of, depression, anxiety. When we're on the road, we're lonely because we miss our spouses, we miss our children, we miss our girlfriend, whatever the case, husband, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing it more now where people are kind of organically, if they're open to it, having a discussion. You know what I mean?
I think COVID brought that out in a lot of people that they didn't even realize it about themselves enough to see that other people needed to talk about it.
Yeah.
But now are comfortable talking about it. I know I definitely had an episode during COVID that I didn't ever see in myself, So it's
well, you got to look at it this way. You're a husband and a father. You have bills to pay. You have food to keep on the table for your family. And I know where I come from. My family eats before I do.
Yeah.
That's just how it is for me. I will always do that. Like this, my dogs will eat before I do. Okay. Yeah. Because that's the right thing. It's my job as the pack leader or the head of the household to make sure that the family is taken care of. I can go without. I've been with less. But during the pandemic, we're out of work for 2 flipping years. That's no paycheck. And any bands who were helping their crew, unless the crew was making a full paycheck, we're still going to get behind on the bills. We're still going to need help, And the pandemic for me made me open my eyes and realized it was okay for me to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I went to the right people and asked for help. And that's the Music Health Alliance. Sheila Biddy there got me great medical insurance for the medical stuff I was going through during the pandemic. Yeah. And then she helped me, they helped me find a therapist, and that just opened up all the doors for me to start feeling better.
Yeah.
And I wish, and, I'm probably off the beaten path here, but that's part of this podcast. We go all over the board, is that I'm in the process with Jamie Thean, who was one of my previous guests, and Ryan Smith from Shore. We're putting together a list that will have links and instructions that will go up on my website for the podcast to help guys like you and me navigate the stupid waters. Because before I met Sheila Biddy at Music Health Alliance, I couldn't get through to anybody to ask for help. Right. And here I am at the most vulnerable point in my life, worried about putting food on the table after the 6-month kitty emergency fund I had set up started to dwindle because we're going past 6 months. Who would ever thought, right?
Right.
But we're going past it, and I'm at the lowest point in my life to where I finally opened myself up, in my 40s at the time, well, in my late 40s. No, shit, early 50s. God damn it.
Right.
Wow, I'm old, but I'm in my early 50s, being that guy who was raised not to talk about things, not to put family business on the table. Here I am looking for help, and then I start looking for help, and you can't weed through the red tape. You can't. It was like, there was one time I was sitting on the phone with the company who shall remain nameless, who now will answer my call in a second flat because of things. But 35 minutes of automated prompts and then waiting for somebody, then another set of, I'm like,
crazy.
What? This is just stupid, man. There are people, my friends, who are passing away left and right, a little bit prior to the pandemic and then through the pandemic. I'm like, I can't do this. So thank God I had a friend, Keith Hoagland, whose wife worked for Music Health Alliance. They put me in touch, and then boom, the doors just flew open, and I was beyond grateful for the help. And I'm still grateful to this day. And I thank them all the time, because in my, and my Masonic Lodge was there for me too. That's why I've been a Mason for over 20 years, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
But for you, what have you gone through? If you're willing to talk about it, I don't want to push any issues on anybody.
Me personally, well, my wife and I, we've been married. We've been together 24 years, married 21 years.
God bless you.
And, we,
by the way, it was lovely meeting your wife and kids on tour. I had a blast with them.
Yeah. They're what it's all about,
100%, brother.
Three young boys like that. They're good kids too. They're not hellions, at least not yet, but
give it time.
Yeah, right.
I said the same shit.
Like, yeah, but they're good kids, and we're really blessed. For us, touring was what she met me doing. That's what I did, and that's what, the whole time we dated up until the time we were engaged and married, and we started having kids, I guess, about 8-9 years after we got married, and our first son was born with a congenital heart defect, which
mine too, my daughter.
Yeah. Tetralogy of Fallot was the name of where basically it's a stenosis of the pulmonary artery.
Right.
And you know how you have a main like septum in your bottom two chambers.
Mm-hmm.
There was no wall. So It was just basically like a 3-chambered heart. So they needed to rebuild all that. And that was I couldn't be away during that. And
no.
she had already had 10 years in her job at the bank where she worked for years, and so it only made sense. Thank God we had healthcare coverage.
I'm telling you.
I mean, that would have been devastating had we not. But that was the thing where you talk about mental health. I mean, it was a big pill to swallow to be a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
And generate money any way I could from the home while also being there to tend to whatever he needed first and foremost.
Yeah.
So being able to get back on the road is also due to her being such an independent person and supportive in that way. But bad shit's going to happen. And I think that parents don't tell kids that enough. I think kids are raised in a bubble now where they're not being told this is going to happen. You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows, and you're going to have to learn how to navigate that and keep your sanity.
I've actually had that conversation with my kids, believe it or not.
I mean, does that make sense? I mean, you can't just set them up for just roses and
no.
rainbows. I was
raised by my mom and my aunts to be a realist, and my dad while he was alive, and I have raised my children to understand the world is not a forgiving place. I've even raised my kids to and I've had long talks with my kids. And I said, listen, I'm surprised I've made it this long. Let me just be real clear. Yeah. So you're going to have to prepare for a day when I'm not here.
Yeah.
And that day could be an hour from now, a year from now, whatever. We don't know, because every moment of time that we have on this planet is a gift. So I don't know when my time is coming. And you have to, I've been preparing my children for a very long time that dad might not make it, because there was a period of time where I didn't think I was going to make it.
Yeah.
The fact that I've made it to almost 60. Hello. I'm shocked. I should, technically by alcohol and pill standards, I should be dead by now. So,
right.
You're right. You are 100% right that, especially now in the climate the world is in. See, I'm skirting around politics. The climate the world is in, children need to understand the real world of shit, because it's not all rainbows and roses and unicorns. We'd like it to be, but it's not.
Yeah.
So you have to prepare them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, that was a real learning experience of, as you said, you've been through it, seeing my son go through 4 different heart procedures, was inspiring to me. And even today we use that as an example. Like whenever something seems difficult or he didn't get on a fucking soccer team or something,
Yeah.
I'm like, you went through the hardest thing a human being can endure. The rest of this shit is all downhill.
Like, it's gravy from here on
You can do anything, you know what I mean? And so we turned it into something positive, and I wouldn't want him any different, It's,
well, that's what I tell my daughter. She was born with, and I swear to this day I can't pronounce it, but it's almost like a ventricle or something. Anyway, she has a hole in her heart.
Yeah.
So what that does is it overworks another part of the heart.
Yeah.
So one time I was on tour, and it was coming to the end of the tour, which was great, but she got admitted to the hospital with endocarditis, and she was really far along. So we almost lost, me and my ex-wife almost lost our daughter, and I flew home, landed in Nashville, immediately, I think I took a shower and then jumped in my car and drove to Cincinnati, where my daughter was. And, to see that and to go through that, and for her to have to be on a PICC line for a month, which is, PICC line is a line that goes in and it goes all the way into the heart to administer the antibiotic directly into the heart. And then you have these little balls, and they're pressurized. And once or twice a day, depending on what the doctor says, you hook this little ball up to the port on her arm, and she stands there at the kitchen counter and she waits for that antibiotic to be put into her system. And that's for a month, and then I gained custody of my daughter, and then we knew the warning signs, and I'm a very paranoid father. Let me be clear, right down to my dogs. If they get an owie, I take them to the vet. That's the kind of dad I am. It's like, oh God, the world is coming to an end.
Right.
And I'm glad I'm like that, because we were able to learn the warning signs of her getting endocarditis. So we knew to follow the steps that were listed they were in the kitchen. There was a cupboard door, and on there I had printed out all the steps of, what her warning signs are. And she, if she's got more than 3 out of 6, then we're straight to the heart doctor, which we had with Vanderbilt. We had a great heart doctor. And sure enough, she was in the beginning stages of endocarditis. And what that does also is it sometimes when you get endocarditis, it'll blow blood clots into the lungs.
Right.
So she was getting blood clots into the lungs. So she has to be on all this medication. And this was right at COVID. So what sucked was, we can go to the hospital with her. My wife and I would have to rotate out, but my wife and I couldn't be in her room at the same time.
Right.
I still don't get it. But, so I would stay with her one night. I'd leave. My wife come in, stay with her the next night, and then so on and so on. And this went on for like 4 or 5 nights. So, but again, she comes home. She's got to be on the PICC line with the friggin' antibiotic ball.
Right.
And, thank God for insurance. Plain and simple. Because that was thousands and thousands of dollars. Just the antibiotics alone. You're talking 2 of those balls. And they weren't little balls. You picture them as like Spalding fucking green tennis balls. They were tennis ball size, 2 a day, 30 days. And then you got to keep them refrigerated, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. So, I understand when you said heart, I was like, yep, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
But it freaks you out.
It's one of those things, but getting back to what I was saying about, people need to tell their kids, like, shit's going to happen. It's like, I've always lived by this saying, and it's really simple. It's like, you choose how you feel. Like, you can't always determine what's going to happen to you, but you own your reaction to it. And if I want to, like, I've always used that with touring. I miss my family like crazy every day. But if I want to choose to be miserable, I will be. And if I want to be homesick, I definitely will.
But you're providing.
Yeah. But and so you do what you do, and then you remind yourself, hey, your family's proud of you for what you do, and they are. It's funny hearing my kids, talk to their friends about what their dad does, because it sounds crazy. Oh, he's in Abu Dhabi today, and he's flying over this, and they think it's cool, and they're the ones who truly pay the price for it. And you know what I'm saying? We can beat ourselves up about it all day, I guess is what I'm getting at. But at the end of the day,
we do.
Yeah, and I don't think you'd be wired right if you didn't.
No, 100%. I don't think you could have a heart. In other words, the way I look at it is, I don't think you can have a heart if it didn't bother you. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, my daughter, like your kids, my daughter drops the names. Oh, my dad's with Matchbox 20 this year. Oh, my dad's with the Goo Goo Dolls. Oh yeah, my dad's working with Bon Jovi. It's like, stop. Just stop.
What we were talking about, Hugh Jackman, we would come out, and this was at a time, like I said, where the kids were into Marvel and X-Men and all this stuff. So they see Wolverine.
Yeah.
And my youngest, who's like 5 at the time, brought his claws out and everything. It was really
that's
cute.
awesome.
And Hugh brought him up and walked him around the stage and put him on the grand piano while he sang. And it was just like, there's certain memories where that will just always stay with you. That's definitely one of them. But he was a great guy,
I mean, that's just it. Where, yes, we're working, we're away from home, we're away from our families. When our families can come out, we're creating memories for them too. And memories, listen, I'm a guy who loves pictures. I have
Yeah.
boxes of pictures. I started digitizing them because at the end of the day, all we have are our memories. And
Right.
that for me is what, and I was talking to somebody. So yeah, so what we're doing is creating memories, and
Yeah.
that's what we're giving our kids. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. Yep.
I want to ask you so many things. So here's one for you what is your most memorable favorite? I mean, this is such a combination of things. What is one of your most memorable favorite tours or shows? And with who?
You mean one that I've worked at?
Yeah, one you've toured with. It's your tour. You're on it.
I know one that comes to mind almost immediately was like days after 9/11. I was on tour with Little River Band, and we were in Los Angeles, and we were playing the Greek Theater, and it wasn't normally part of the show, but behind the stage, I guess they had a giant American flag. And
Mhm.
so they dropped the American flag during the middle of that show, and everybody went absolutely berserk. And we didn't know what it was about, and we turned back, and you could see what it was, and that was something that really stuck out. At a horrible time to be on the road, as you can remember.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did Rock to the Rescue with REO Speedwagon, Styx, Foreigner, a bunch of bands to help,
Yeah.
I forgot the
Recovery
name.
efforts and stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
recovery efforts and to help families of 9/11, of first responders.
Yeah.
And just every night, I mean, I still think about it, and I don't know if you can tell, but it
Yeah.
still gives me goosebumps
Yeah.
because that was a bad time and it sucked and thousands of people lost their lives, but it brought our country together.
Yeah.
And that was something I never thought in my lifetime I'd see. Let's be real.
Yeah. I mean, not to get stuck on a sad note like that, but like other things, and I think you can relate to this. There's certain venues in the world that you play that you can just feel the history in. Like whenever we're
Yes.
in Madison Square Garden or at like the LA Forum or Hollywood Bowl, or like this last tour I was in, it was so cool getting to do Line Check just to play at Budokan and
Yeah.
hearing just I geek out over stupid shit like that. But being fans of music is what brought us to this to begin with.
100%.
So
To
when
be
I'm in
able to
certain
play
places, it's incredible.
100%. That's just it. When you walk into those places and there's those goosebumps, because you said Madison Square Garden, and that's my old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
And it was just announced yesterday that Bon Jovi, we start the tour 4 nights at Madison Square Garden. I mean, I have
Incredible.
no problems going back home and starting a tour in my home,
Yeah.
But it's an iconic building. When I was PM with Janet, we did 2 nights there. To walk in as a production manager for that tour into that building, I was on cloud 9.
Yeah.
Because you're like, man, this is my show. We're here. I know everybody in the crew. It's local one. Everybody hates them. I love them. They love
Yeah.
me. So what the hell?
Yeah.
It was a good 2 days all around. And it's like there's even venues. Man, I wish I can remember this one venue, bro. Maybe you've played it. It's in Washington, DC. And it's a
Club?
hall. No, it's a hall. And it's all white on the inside. I can't remember for the life of me, Constitution Hall or something like that, but they do
Okay.
shows there. But
Yeah.
you walk in there knowing the history that has been through that place, our founding fathers, all of that shit. And you sit there and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Even when we were on Styx, was it Styx? No, Night Ranger, a long time ago. Me and Glenn, we had a few days off and they kept us in Philly and they flew our wives in for us. And I had, being from there, I had never walked through Philly. I go to Philly for Pat's or Geno's and I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. But my wife had never gone through Philly. So we took the day and we walked through Philly and we went to Constitution Hall. We went to, Ben Franklin's house and, where they signed the Declaration of Independence. And you walk through this place and seeing the original wood and some of the original chairs that the founding father sat at, you sit there and you just go, wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm in this place.
Yeah.
You know, and that to me, stuff like that, like even let's go back into the club days, bro. Let's be real. Let's go down to the 930 Club. That's history. That is fucking history in our industry. I've done so many metal shows, Slayer, Testament, Biohazard, Overkill, so many shows in the original 930, not even the new one. I still did the new 930 Club. But you go down there and that's the Hammerjacks, for Christ's sakes, when you played there.
Yeah.
That's history, man.
Like Webster Hall, any of those places.
There you go. Webster Hall. Can't. I hated it. When the elevator didn't work, I hated it.
Yeah.
If that elevator wasn't working that day, people were pissed.
I saw a guy, those guys are so they're animals there though. I saw a guy pick up an Ampeg 810 and just stand there talking to his friend for a few minutes, and then he's like, I got to get back to work. The whole time he's holding a fucking 810 on his back.
I mean, listen, when I was 20 something years old, I can hump, Marshalls like this up on my shoulders up a flight of stairs. Now I look at these guys and go, settle down. You're going to be crippled like me one day.
Right.
You're going to be crippled. But it's like
shit.
Yeah. But it's like that's history for us. That's I call it rock and roll history. When you play some of these things, like, listen, have you ever played Toad's Place in Connecticut?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's history, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that is amazing. Pure history. There's another one I can't remember. Maybe you remember the name of it, but it's attached. It's a killer club, but it's attached. I can't remember, but it's attached to a strip club. So if you went up a set of stairs in the dressing room and through a door, you were in the balcony of the strip club.
This has to be somewhere like East St. Louis or something, right?
I don't remember, man. There's a club in St. Louis too that I've played a million times, especially
Mississippi Nights.
Mississippi Nights.
I used to play there all the time back in the day.
Awesome club. Shitty as hell.
Yeah.
But
you have to load in through the front door. That place got in 2007. They tore it down. It's a parking lot for a casino.
Oh, really?
It's sad because that place had a lot of history.
Oh God, I mean, just good times. Good times.
Yeah.
So, in your career, why do you? Okay, so let's put the wife and the family aside.
Yeah.
Okay, we know what you do is that's part of your reason.
Yeah.
But what still makes you happy in what you do?
I grew up with two older brothers, and so I was surrounded by, one was 7 years older than me. The other one was like 9 years older. So I grew up around them playing like Cream. I remember hearing Disraeli Gears all the time when I was a kid. The Deep Purple, Machine Head, the first Hendrix albums, Santana, like all these. I was getting hit with all these influences, and I don't think you realize how you absorb it until later something connects with you. And I was, when Eddie Van Halen came out, that changed everything.
Oh yeah.
I still distinctly remember. He's going to kill me for saying it, but I remember, being a little kid in the 78, 79. And I'm sitting in the beanbag chair with the headphones on, listening to the beginning of Running with the Devil, and where the car horns fade in, And I still have this imagery of looking across, my brother's rolling a joint and a Frisbee going, you tell mom and dad, you're never allowed to hang out again.
Nice.
I don't know. I know I'm dating myself.
They can't do shit for you now.
Yeah, but it was just, it was just funny memories. But I remember just Eddie Van Halen turned everything upside down for me. And that's where I got, Boy Scouts and soccer went out the window, and then it was all about guitars and girls.
Mine was Billy Sheehan and Tallis, and then Steve Harris and Maiden. When those two came through, I was just like, that's it, I'm playing bass.
Yeah, amazing. Certain guys you connect with, I call them the Trinity. For me, it was, there's everybody always says Hendrix and Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck. Sure, they're great, they're icons. But for me, it was Eddie Van Halen, it was George Lynch, and Neil Schon from Journey. I can
see that. He's amazing.
His phrasing, his sense of being able to shred and still be in a pop band is always blowing my mind. Just like Steve Lukather is
Yeah.
another guy who was one of my favorites. And then you have, you know, Lynch. I think he's one of the tastiest players that came out of the 80s that people talk about him, but I think he was right up there with the
I
greats.
agree. And I worked for him. And I think, you know, I have a list that I love to have and it's the most underrated guitar players. And Lynch is definitely up there, right? With like Nuno Betancourt, I think, and Vito Bratta. They are some of the most underrated guys that really should have just been bigger if people would have let them be, because they're just amazing.
For me, in that category in the 80s, I remember it was Lynch was top of the heap, and then it was Warren DeMartini, and then Jakey Lee, like I call them the Trinity back then. You know, they were.
I think DeMartini and Jake kind of
they got recognition for
they got their recognition, but I don't think like, you know, Nuno did.
No.
I think George could have got better recognition if Dokken didn't fall apart. Yeah. And his Lynch, I did Lynch Mob with him as his tech, and the Lynch Mob shit was good.
Yeah.
You know, Wicked Sensation, if you just listen to him, that's some hard shit he's playing.
Yeah, I saw that tour in like 6 cities. I went all over to see that.
Well, I was probably there.
Midwest. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's so many underrated guys, but you know, obviously the music you grew up with, but why do you still do on the road touring? Why do you still do what you do, putting aside the family? What's the joy that you have in doing what you do?
Man, you know, it's so funny. I was having a discussion with a friend about this just the other day, and I sent them a video clip. I told them, I said, when you're, you know, it's one thing when you're playing in the band, but when you're in the crew and you work all day to put this together, and like you and all your friends work, and this thing finally comes to fruition, and those house lights drop and you hear people getting off, that to me is the most powerful thing, more than any drug or anything I've ever drank, anything like that. And I swear to God, that's what draws me into it. And I actually captured it on the last show, where I'm like, here we go, because I get the radio call. And, you know, I shouldn't have been fucking around with my phone as we're doing a handoff, but I just had to get it, you know, and it captured it. And so that's what still brings me to it. I've always been, as I've gotten older, I love playing guitar, but I've always enjoyed being in the pit crew as much as being on the stage in some weird way.
Well, what's funny, you said the exact same thing several of my guests who still toured said.
What's
and
that?
It's also the feeling
about the
lights go out.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel the same way, but I expand on it because what's gotten me more enjoy, like, listen, I hate my job. I love my job. It is the most amazing love-hate relationship on the planet. Yeah. But the love part is what you said, working together all day to put this monster together. Then those house lights drop. And then those people who paid a lot of money to come to a show, not just on tickets, but parking and probably babysitters and, you know, dinner, whatever.
Yeah.
In a very bad economy, mind you, they've paid to come see that show, and they get that enjoyment to step out of all the bad shit that they're going through, and they get to live in that moment. That's pretty friggin' joyful to me, because their emotions about the show are real. But what really put me over the edge the last couple of years was when I started with TSO. And I get to see families bring their children. And then I get to watch, like, I'll peek my head through the curtain during the show and look out at the audience, because I know where the kids are sitting, because each side of our stage keeps earplugs. So if there's kids in the front couple of rows that don't have stuff, we bring them earplugs. But I know where the kids are sitting. You know, I'll go out and give them a pick. I'll sneak them a pick before the show. But I know where they're sitting. And then I'll peek out during the show when I know, like, the pyro is going to go off and all this stuff. And to watch these children's faces with pure joy and being so elated and so in the moment, as a father, almost brings me to tears to see a child in amazement. Because listen, I'm going to be straight with you. Where are you from again originally?
Originally St. Louis. I live in Dallas. Yeah.
I'm from Jersey. The one thing we did every year, like, I went to the store before to pick up my prescriptions, and literally Halloween hasn't even showed up and they got all their Christmas shit out.
Yeah.
That never happened back home when I was young. The day after Thanksgiving, all the stores were shut down for a day and all their Christmas stuff went up. Macy's, Gimbals, everybody. And it was a spectacular. You
Yeah.
go through New York City. My mom used to take us into the city. It dwindled out after a few years, but we would go into the city as younger kids and we go by the windows in Macy's, which were just, they were beautiful. Right. And
Yeah.
then you'd see all this stuff. And nowadays you are going to stores in October and all the Christmas trees and lights and stuff is out. So when these children come to these shows and they get to experience a Christmas spectacular show
Yeah.
firsthand and they see the pyro and the lifts and all the flames and these, that is the look of just pure joy. And it, as a father, it makes me so happy.
Oh yeah.
Like to see that. And that's, I found my new purpose for why I like doing what I do. Even with Bon Jovi, because I've been with them for the last few years. When we did the tour in 2022, I never believed the rumors that I heard. And that's the crowd is so loud, you won't be able to hear your ear monitors. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Fakakta, I don't want to hear that shit.
And it was true.
And it was past the point of true.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear John or Hugh, my bass player, in my ear monitors, like when they were singing Living on a Prayer.
Yeah.
The entire arena was so loud. When I took my ears out, it was deafening.
Yeah.
But that's pure joy. That's people getting to live a moment that's theirs for that time. And they're going to be able to carry that memory through the bad times.
Yeah.
Oh man, remember when we were at that show and we were just singing and we were having a good time? Yeah. But guess what? I had a hand in giving you that. I may not have been in the band that played the songs, but I was the guy who set up the shit to make it work. So my guy had a flawless show so he could have fun. And then he can generate that fun to you. Yeah. And that's one thing I loved about Blue October. They were fun.
Yeah.
His stories were great every night. I used to stand on the side of the stage and laugh my ass off behind Emily, just going, God damn, I never heard of the guys before the tour. And then I fell in love with them during the tour.
That's always the case with everybody I turn on to them. It's they're a great bunch of guys.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me they're not in stadiums. I believe in their stuff that much. Like
I'm officially a believer with you. And when they are in stadiums, I'll be there if you need me.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're coming up on time, but let's just touch on a couple other things. If you, Patrick Ryan, the man, the myth, the legend, were to impart some wisdom on our up and comers in our industry, what would you impart to them?
Well, I don't know if this would be plagiarism or not, but do you know who Dave Wolf is? Wolfie?
Oh, I know Wolfie very well. We did many tours together.
Yeah. I was doing a Def Leppard tour with him in 2014 when I was looking out for Rich Fortis when I was out with Dead Daisies. Anyway, he made a point to say one time, he was helping me out with something with an amplifier. And he just said, I'm nice to everybody because you never know where your next gig is potentially coming from. And there's
100%
something to that. But I think, too, we all remember what it was like to be that opening band or in the shitty position where just a little bit of kindness goes a long way. And I know, like with Blue October, I've always tried to extend that, whether it was helping a guy's guitar play better because he didn't know how to do a neck adjustment or whatever, a small kindness goes a long way,
Well, at the beginning of the Blue October Googlers House things, I was kind of a dick to you guys, but then you guys pretty much stole my heart. You guys stole my heart.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I got it. I understood,
Yeah, but that's just all part of the razzing,
Yeah.
But it would never affect the show. But yeah, I think a lot of these guys, I think what you said is pretty much, and I've heard Wolfie say that before, and it's right. It's, how we get our jobs is word of mouth. And if you're a dick, no one's going to want to hire you.
And there's nothing easier than just being kind too,
Well, it's just human nature. Just be nice. Treat people how you want to be treated. Do you want to be yelled at? Do you want to be a dick? No.
Yeah, right.
Final thoughts here. So sum up your career in a nutshell how you feel it's gone and where you feel it's going?
I've always been, I hope this doesn't come across bad, but I've always been proud of the fact that every gig I leave, I left it better than when I found it. And I've always said the same thing to every guy I've ever looked after, no matter what level they're at. Like, I'll never let you go down in flames out there. We always have a plan B. We have a plan C for the plan B, and probably even another one lined up behind that. But
if not, then we wing it.
Yeah, I mean, like on that Hugh Jackman tour as crew chief, I mean, most of the guys that were out there were on their game, but I remember having to tell people, like, there was nobody standing behind you. Like, you're responsible for your piece of the universe, and you better have options, you know. My goal ultimately with whoever I work with is I just want them to be able to think about being free to create and not have to pull themselves out of that headspace.
Yeah.
Because that's ultimately what we want to see them do. That's where the magic is. So they don't have
100%.
to worry about that shit, you know?
100%. I agree with you, and actually couldn't agree with you more.
And do you know what's crazy? Not to stop you there, is like,
no, go.
What's funny is now, from over the years of doing this, the shows I went to as a kid, where I was like, back then, you know, you're not really thinking about the crew guys, but it always intrigued me. And now I'm friends with a lot of the guys that, you know, Aidan Mullen, when I'd go see Metallica back in the 80s, and like Malvin Mortimer with Def Leppard, and Mike Rogers, like guys, when I'd go see them on the Pyromania tour, I didn't know who the guys in the back were, but I know them now, and I can hit them up with questions about shit back then.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting to me. Not to keep you, but like, there was a story
you're fine, brother.
A friend of mine was reminding me of the other day. Like, we went and saw Van Halen in '86, and this was the first year Sammy was back, or Sammy came into their band, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's hanging around the back of the arena, the St. Louis arena there, and you know, out comes Alex and out comes Eddie, and everybody's chasing it was something out of a movie, you know. And all of a sudden, this guy walks out, and I go, "Hey, Zeke," because I read in the latest issue of Guitar World about this guy. It was Eddie's guitar tech.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Is it true you built a Frankenstein out of blah, blah, blah and used this size?" You know, I start hitting him with all these technical things. And he's walking out. He had a girl with him, and he had a gig bag in the other arm. You could tell he just wanted to get the fuck out of there and go to the hotel. And anyway, he comes over. I'm like in 8th grade. And he was just like, "What do you want to know?" And I was hitting him with all these questions about Eddie and what he used, and, you know, how he got the gig. And he was so intrigued by it, and was such a nice guy, and sat there and talked to me for probably a half hour.
No shit.
And that always left an impression on me. Like, like I said, I never thought I would do this gig. I always played, but it eventually turned into this. And
well, yeah, I mean, same goes for me. I was a player. I was in bands. I never thought I'd do this, but I found more joy in fixing and putting it together than I did playing it. That was just me.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
But anyway, my brother, thank you so much. Hang tight here after I run through the credits, and I'll talk to you. But thank you so much.
Absolutely.
You know, we'll do this hopefully again, you know, next year, and then hopefully we'll be on something together.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
I might have a plan for that. We'll see.
That would be good. I'm available. So.
Oh, I know you are, especially for what I want to put you on.
Right on. Right on.
You'll take it. But all right, brother, we'll talk soon. Everyone, please thank Mr. Patrick Ryan. Stupid shit. I can't play music anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to play music anymore because Spotify took down 3 of my episodes because of copyright for like 4 seconds of music. And I'm like, God dang it. All right, fine. Then you're going to have to deal with the cursing.
That's funny.
So, all right, brother, we'll talk soon. Hang tight. I'll be right back. And thank you so much. I appreciate you, man. Love to you and the family.
You too, buddy. Have a great tour.
All right, buddy. Thanks, bro.
Okay.
Bye.